In other news this afternoon, Iowa native and well-known American picker Frank Fritz has died.
American picker star Frank Fritz has died at 60 years old, 2 years after suffering a devastating stroke.
Frank Fritz, the affable co-host of the popular television series American Pickers, passed away on September 30th, 2024 at the age of 60. His death marked the end of an era for fans who had followed his adventures in antique hunting across America. The cause of death was attributed to complications arising from a stroke he suffered in 2022, which had left him with significant health challenges. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. Born on October 11, 1963 in Davenport, Iowa, Frank Fritz developed an early fascination with collecting. This passion led him to co-create American Pickers with his longtime friend Mike Wolfe. The show, which premiered in 2010 on the History Channel, showcased the duo traveling across the United States in search of hidden treasures, antiques, and collectibles. Their chemistry and genuine enthusiasm for uncovering unique items endeared them to millions of viewers. In July 2022, Fritz suffered a debilitating stroke that significantly impacted his mobility and speech. Despite medical interventions and rehabilitation efforts, his health continued to decline. He spent his final months in a hospice facility in Davenport, Iowa, surrounded by close friends and family. Fritz's departure from American Pickers in 2020 had been a topic of much discussion among fans. Health issues, including his battle with Crohn's disease and complications from back surgery, contributed to his absence from the show. Additionally, personal differences between Fritz and Wolfe led to a publicized rift. However, before Fritz's passing, the two reconciled, with Wolfe expressing deep sorrow over the loss of his friend and colleague. The legacy of Frank Fritz lies not only in the antiques he unearthed, but also in the joy and knowledge he brought to viewers. His genuine curiosity and warm demeanor made history accessible and entertaining. As fans remember him, they celebrate a life dedicated to the pursuit of stories hidden within objects of the past. In the wake of his death, tributes poured in from fans, colleagues, and friends. The History Channel released a statement honoring Fritz's contributions to the network and the show's success. Plans for a public memorial service are underway, allowing admirers to pay their respects and celebrate the life of a man who turned a passion for picking into a beloved television journey. Frank Fritz's story is a testament to following one's passions and the impact of sharing that enthusiasm with the world. His journey from a small-town collector to a television personality serves as an inspiration to many, reminding us of the treasures that await those who seek them and the stories that connect us all. Frank Fritz's passing has left a profound impact on the world of antique collecting and reality television. His larger-than-life personality, infectious enthusiasm for picking, and ability to connect with people made him an irreplaceable figure in the industry. As fans process the news of his passing, many have begun reflecting on his incredible journey, the trials he faced, and the legacy he left behind. While Fritz became famous as a co-host of American Pickers, his story began long before the cameras ever started rolling. Born and raised in Davenport, Iowa, he was an ordinary Midwestern boy with an extraordinary passion for collecting. From a young age, he found himself drawn to objects that others often overlooked: old toys, rusty gas station signs, vintage bicycles, and even discarded tools. He wasn't just interested in their monetary value, but also in the history behind them. Each item had a story to tell, and for Fritz, that was what made picking so rewarding. His love for antiques grew stronger as he entered adulthood, and it eventually turned into a full-time business. He opened Frank Fritz Finds, a shop dedicated to selling the treasures he unearthed. His ability to spot rare and valuable items set him apart from casual collectors, and he quickly earned a reputation as a sharp-eyed picker. This passion would ultimately lead to his partnership with Mike Wolfe, a friendship that would shape both of their careers in ways they never expected. When American Pickers premiered in 2010, no one could have predicted just how massive of a success it would become. The show followed Frank and Mike as they scoured barns, garages, and abandoned buildings across America, searching for forgotten relics of the past. Their interactions with everyday people, as well as their humorous and often competitive banter, made the show an instant hit. Fans loved watching Frank's keen eye for unique items, as well as his ability to negotiate deals with sellers who were often reluctant to part with their possessions. Frank's contribution to American Pickers was significant. While Mike often took the lead in tracking down leads and arranging visits, Frank had a special talent for building relationships with the people they met along the way. His friendly, down-to-earth nature made him an excellent negotiator, and he had a way of putting people at ease. He could spot a valuable item in a pile of junk and recognize the emotional attachment sellers had to their possessions. Instead of merely focusing on profit, he respected the sentimental value items held for their owners, which endeared him to both fans and collectors. Despite the show's success, Frank's personal life was not without challenges. He suffered from Crohn's disease, a chronic inflammatory condition that affected his digestive system, which often caused him significant pain and discomfort. He was open about his struggles with the illness, speaking candidly about how it impacted his life and work. Even as he dealt with flare-ups and hospital visits, he remained dedicated to his passion, never allowing his condition to define him. His battle with Crohn's was just one of the many difficulties he faced over the years. His departure from American Pickers in 2020 was a turning point in his life. And while many speculated about the reasons behind his exit, it was clear that his health and personal struggles played a major role. Around the same time, he underwent back surgery, which left him dealing with significant pain and mobility issues. In interviews, he spoke about the toll these health issues took on him, admitting that he had lost a considerable amount of weight and was struggling to recover. Adding to the difficulties, Frank's longtime friendship with Mike Wolfe became strained. The two had been close for years, but as American Pickers grew in popularity, tensions reportedly began to surface. When Frank left the show, there were rumors of a falling out, with some suggesting that their professional relationship had become too complicated to maintain. Frank expressed his disappointment in how things had unfolded, stating in an interview that he wished things had gone differently. Fans were heartbroken to see the duo go their separate ways, as their chemistry had been one of the show's biggest draws. Despite these hardships, Frank remained determined to move forward. He focused on his business and continued to engage with fans, many of whom remained loyal to him even after his departure from the show. His resilience was a testament to his character. He had always been someone who refused to let obstacles keep him down. However, in July 2022, tragedy struck when he suffered a severe stroke. Friends and family rushed to his side, and he was placed under conservatorship as he struggled to recover. The stroke left him with limited mobility, and while he fought hard to regain his independence, it was clear that his health had taken a serious toll. In the wake of his stroke, many fans and former colleagues reached out with messages of support. Even Mike Wolfe, despite their past disagreements, publicly wished Frank a speedy recovery. Their relationship may have been strained in recent years, but there was still a deep bond between them, one built on decades of friendship and shared experiences. Unfortunately, Frank's health continued to decline, and he ultimately passed away on September 30th, 2024. News of his death spread quickly, and fans from around the world mourned the loss of one of television's most beloved antique hunters. Tributes poured in from friends, fellow collectors, and viewers who had followed his journey for years. Many took to social media to share their favorite memories of Frank on American Pickers, recalling his humor, his kindness, and his incredible ability to spot a hidden gem. Mike Wolfe, deeply affected by his friend's passing, shared an emotional tribute, revealing that he had been by Frank's side during his final moments. He spoke about their friendship, their years of adventure together, and the love and respect he still had for Frank despite their past disagreements. It was a heartbreaking but beautiful reminder of the deep connection they had shared. Beyond the world of television, Frank's impact extended to the antique collecting community at large. His approach to picking inspired countless people to take up the hobby themselves. Whether it was weekend garage sale enthusiasts or serious collectors, many saw Frank as a role model, someone who turned a lifelong passion into a successful career. His ability to see the value in forgotten objects and bring history back to life resonated with people in a way that few others in the industry could match. As plans for a public memorial took shape, fans gathered to celebrate Frank's life and legacy. His family and close friends organized an event where people could come together to share stories, honor his contributions to the world of picking, and pay their respects. His shop, Frank Fritz Finds, became a gathering place for fans who wanted to leave flowers, letters, and messages of appreciation. It was a testament to the deep impact he had on so many lives. Looking back on Frank's journey, it's clear that he was more than just a television personality. He was a man who lived with passion, who embraced adventure, and who had a deep appreciation for history and the stories behind the objects he collected. His legacy lives on not just through the episodes of American Pickers that fans continue to rewatch, but also in the inspiration he provided to those who share his love for uncovering forgotten treasures. His passing is a reminder of how fleeting life can be, and the importance of cherishing the moments we have with those we care about. Frank's story is one of perseverance, friendship, and an unwavering dedication to his craft. He may be gone, but his impact will never be forgotten. As fans continue to remember Frank Fritz, one thing is certain: he will always be a part of the history he loved so much. His laughter, his knowledge, and his passion for picking will live on in the hearts of those who watched him travel across America in search of hidden gems. Rest in peace, Frank. You will be missed. Frank Fritz's story is one that resonates far beyond the world of antique collecting and television. His journey, filled with triumphs and struggles, speaks to the perseverance and passion of a man who dedicated his life to uncovering the hidden history of America, one forgotten relic at a time. While his passing has left a void in the hearts of his fans, colleagues, and loved ones, his legacy is one that will endure. Long before American Pickers became a household name, Frank Fritz was just a young boy with a fascination for the past. Growing up in Davenport, Iowa, he spent countless hours exploring flea markets, garage sales, and junkyards. Unlike other kids his age who may have been interested in sports or video games, Frank found joy in rescuing old objects and learning their stories. His childhood hobby wasn't just about collecting for the sake of ownership, it was about preservation. He believed that every old gas station sign, rusty tool, or vintage motorcycle part held a piece of history that deserved to be remembered. This mindset set him apart from others and foreshadowed the career that would later make him a household name. Frank's parents encouraged his interests, though they may not have fully realized at the time that their son's passion for antiques would become his life's work. His mother, in particular, played a role in fostering his curiosity. She supported his collecting endeavors, driving him to estate sales and helping him negotiate deals with sellers. By the time he reached his teenage years, Frank had already developed an impressive knowledge of antique items, their origins, and their worth. Frank's love for picking didn't immediately translate into a full-time career. Like many young adults, he initially pursued a more traditional path. He spent years working as a fire inspector, a job that required him to travel frequently and visit different locations. During these trips, he found himself drawn to old barns, forgotten storage units, and secondhand stores. What started as a side interest quickly turned into a full-fledged obsession. Eventually, Frank made the bold decision to leave his stable career behind to pursue picking full-time. This was a risky move. There were no guarantees in the world of antique collecting, and success was far from certain. But Frank's sharp eye for valuable finds and his ability to negotiate deals helped him make a name for himself in the industry. He opened Frank Fritz Finds, a shop that allowed him to sell the treasures he had accumulated over the years. Word spread quickly about his talents. Collectors and hobbyists alike began to seek him out, eager to learn from his expertise and purchase items from his shop. It was during this time that he rekindled his friendship with Mike Wolfe, a fellow collector who shared his love for unearthing hidden gems. Their shared passion would lead to a partnership that would change both of their lives forever. The idea for American Pickers was born out of a simple but powerful concept: two lifelong friends traveling across the country in search of forgotten treasures. When the show first premiered on the History Channel in 2010, few could have predicted just how popular it would become. Unlike other reality shows that focused on drama and conflict, American Pickers had a different appeal. It was about history, discovery, and the thrill of the hunt. Viewers tuned in not just to see what Frank and Mike would find, but to hear the stories behind the objects. It wasn't uncommon for Frank to strike up a conversation with a seller and learn about their family history, their personal connection to an item, or the cultural significance of a piece. Frank's role on the show was invaluable. While Mike often led the way in setting up deals and scouting locations, Frank was the one who truly engaged with people. He had a warm, approachable personality that put sellers at ease. His ability to build relationships with collectors, hoarders, and antique shop owners made the show feel authentic. He wasn't just in it for profit. He genuinely cared about the people he met and the items they had spent years holding on to. Over the course of its run, American Pickers took Frank and Mike to every corner of the United States. They uncovered rare motorcycles, antique signs, vintage toys, and countless other unique finds. Fans loved watching their adventures, and the show's success helped to popularize the concept of picking, inspiring a new generation of collectors. Despite the show's success, Frank faced numerous personal challenges behind the scenes. His struggle with Crohn's disease was something he had dealt with for most of his life, and it often made filming difficult. There were days when he was in pain, fatigued, and struggling to keep up with the demanding schedule. In addition to his health struggles, Frank also faced personal battles that led to his eventual departure from the show. His last appearance on American Pickers aired in 2020, and after that, rumors swirled about his exit. Many speculated that a falling out with Mike Wolfe had played a role in his departure. While the details remained largely private, Frank later spoke out, expressing disappointment over how things had ended. During this time, Frank also underwent a difficult recovery from back surgery, which left him in a weakened state. It was a period of transition and uncertainty for him, as he tried to focus on his health while also finding a new path forward. In July 2022, Frank suffered a massive stroke, a turning point that changed everything. The severity of the stroke left him with limited mobility and made it nearly impossible for him to live independently. His condition required around-the-clock care, and a conservatorship was established to ensure that he received the medical attention he needed. Fans were devastated by the news. Many had hoped that Frank would return to American Pickers one day, or at the very least, make a recovery that would allow him to resume his passion for collecting. But as the months went on, it became clear that his condition was serious. Despite his health struggles, Frank continued to receive love and support from fans and friends. Even Mike Wolfe, despite their past tensions, reached out to offer his well wishes. In his final months, Frank was surrounded by close friends and family who remained by his side through it all. On September 30th, 2024, the world lost a true original. Frank Fritz's passing was met with an outpouring of grief, with fans taking to social media to share their condolences and memories. The History Channel released a statement honoring his contributions, and many of his former colleagues paid tribute to the impact he had on the world of antique collecting. Frank Fritz's influence extends far beyond American Pickers. He played a pivotal role in bringing picking into the mainstream, showing millions of viewers that history isn't just something found in museums. It's hidden in barns, attics, and forgotten roadside shops across the country. His passion for collecting inspired countless people to take up the hobby themselves, and his genuine love for the stories behind objects made him a beloved figure in the industry. His shop, Frank Fritz Finds, remains a testament to his life's work. Even after his passing, it continues to be a destination for collectors and fans who want to honor his memory. Many have visited the store, leaving messages and tributes to the man who showed them the magic of picking. Perhaps the greatest legacy Frank leaves behind is the reminder that passion and curiosity can lead to incredible journeys. He turned a childhood interest into a lifelong career, proving that with dedication and enthusiasm, it's possible to build a life around the things you love. In the days following his passing, memorial services were planned to celebrate his life. Fans from across the country gathered to share stories, honor his contributions, and reflect on the impact he had on their lives. The outpouring of love and support was a testament to just how much he meant to people. For those who grew up watching him on American Pickers, Frank Fritz will always be remembered as the friendly, sharp-eyed collector who saw value where others did not. His laughter, his negotiations, and his deep appreciation for history will live on in the episodes of the show and in the hearts of those who admired him. Though he is no longer here, his spirit endures in every collector who stops to pick through an old box of treasures, in every antique shop owner who shares the story of a forgotten relic, and in every person who looks at a rusted sign and sees not just decay, but history. Rest in peace, Frank Fritz. Your passion, kindness, and love for the past will never be forgotten. Frank Fritz was not just a television personality, he was a historian in his own right. His ability to look at an object and see its historical significance made him more than just a collector. He was a storyteller. Every item he picked up carried a past, and Frank was determined to make sure that past was not forgotten. His influence extended far beyond American pickers, shaping how people viewed antiques and inspiring countless individuals to take up the hobby themselves. While many people saw old signs, rusted car parts, and discarded furniture as junk, Frank saw value. Not just monetary value, but cultural and historical worth. His enthusiasm was contagious, and he had an uncanny ability to make even the most skeptical sellers see why their old possessions mattered. In an age where mass production dominates, Frank reminded the world of the importance of craftsmanship, durability, and the stories behind each object. Even after he left American Pickers, Frank remained deeply involved in the antique collecting community. His store, Frank Fritz Finds, was not just a place to sell antiques. It was a hub for collectors and enthusiasts. People traveled from all over the country to visit, hoping to meet Frank and hear his insights. He was always generous with his knowledge, eager to share what he had learned over decades of picking. His reputation as a fair and honest businessman set him apart in an industry where many are focused solely on profit. Frank believed in ethical collecting, ensuring that sellers got a fair price for their items and that buyers knew exactly what they were purchasing. This integrity earned him respect among collectors and dealers alike, and his absence will undoubtedly be felt throughout the community. One of the unique aspects of American Pickers was its focus on small-town America. Unlike many reality shows that focus on urban settings, American Pickers shined a light on rural communities, their histories, and the people who kept those histories alive. Frank was a natural fit for this role. A Midwestern native himself, he had a deep appreciation for the people he met on the road, and he treated them with genuine respect. He wasn't just interested in the items, he was interested in the people behind them. Many of the individuals featured on American Pickers were elderly collectors who had spent a lifetime amassing treasures. Frank had a way of connecting with them, making them feel comfortable and valued. His natural curiosity and empathy set him apart, and fans loved seeing these interactions unfold on screen. Even after he left the show, he continued to champion small businesses and independent collectors. He often encouraged people to visit flea markets, estate sales, and antique shops rather than purchasing mass-produced items. His belief in the importance of supporting local businesses made a significant impact on the communities he visited. Frank Fritz's work in the antique world helped redefine how people viewed picking and collecting. Before American Pickers, picking was often seen as a niche hobby, reserved for historians, hoarders, or extreme collectors. The show, with Frank at its center, changed that perception. It made picking accessible to everyone, showing that valuable and meaningful objects could be found anywhere if one knew how to look. His approach to collecting also demonstrated that it was about more than just making money. He taught viewers to appreciate objects for their history and craftsmanship, not just their resale value. This shift in mindset encouraged many people to take up picking as a hobby, leading to a renewed interest in antiques and vintage goods. The rise of online marketplaces like eBay and Facebook Marketplace has changed the way people buy and sell antiques, but Frank adapted to these changes. He understood that while technology made collecting easier in some ways, nothing could replace the experience of finding an item in person. He always encouraged people to get out into the world, explore, and uncover hidden treasures firsthand. What made Frank special was that he never lost his love for picking. Even as his fame grew, he remained the same down-to-earth collector who had started out digging through flea markets as a kid. He never became arrogant or out of touch with the everyday picker. And that authenticity made him one of the most beloved figures in the industry. Many collectors have spoken about Frank's generosity. He was known for giving advice to up-and-coming pickers, sharing tips about where to find the best deals, how to negotiate, and how to identify valuable pieces. He never viewed others as competition. Instead, he saw them as fellow enthusiasts who shared his passion. Frank's love for collecting was not just about the items themselves. It was about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovering something unexpected, the excitement of learning a new piece of history, and the satisfaction of restoring an old object to its former glory were what kept him going. That passion is something that will continue to inspire collectors for generations to come. Frank's influence reaches beyond his own generation. Many young collectors credit him as the reason they got into picking. Through his work on American Pickers, he introduced millions of viewers, young and old, to the world of antiques. Parents and grandparents who watched the show with their children found that it sparked conversations about history, craftsmanship, and the value of preserving the past. With Frank gone, his legacy lives on in the many people he inspired. Whether it's a young collector at a flea market, a shop owner who got their start because of his advice, or a historian who learned something new from watching him on television, his impact is undeniable. As tributes continue to pour in, it's clear that Frank Fritz was more than just a reality TV star. He was a teacher, a storyteller, and a man who brought joy to millions. His ability to see the beauty in forgotten objects, his kindness toward the people he met, and his unwavering passion for history made him truly one of a kind. His passing is a great loss to the picking and antique community, but his spirit will live on in every barn that's searched, every sign that's restored, and every story that's shared about the past. Frank taught the world that history is everywhere. You just have to be willing to look for it. As we remember Frank Fritz, we celebrate a life well lived, a life filled with adventure, discovery, and a love for the stories that make up our past. Rest in peace, Frank. Your legacy will never be forgotten. Frank Fritz may be gone, but his influence continues to ripple through the world of collecting, history, and storytelling. His love for discovering hidden gems and uncovering forgotten history transformed the way people view antiques, and his impact will endure for generations to come. His approach to picking wasn't just about finding valuable items. It was about preserving stories, honoring craftsmanship, and appreciating the past in a tangible way. One of the most remarkable things about Frank's journey is how he turned an unconventional passion into a lifelong career. Many people spend their lives working jobs they don't love, but Frank found a way to turn his childhood hobby into something meaningful, inspiring, and financially sustainable. He proved that it was possible to make a living doing what you love, as long as you had the knowledge, dedication, and enthusiasm to back it up. Frank's true gift wasn't just in finding antiques, it was in telling the stories behind them. Each item he picked up was a window into the past, and he had an innate ability to make history feel personal and relatable. While some saw an old gas pump or a rusty Coca-Cola sign as just another piece of junk, Frank saw a moment in time, a slice of Americana that deserved to be remembered. He understood that objects connect us to our roots, to the people who came before us, and to the industries that shaped the modern world. Whether it was an old bicycle, a neon sign from a long-forgotten roadside diner, or a collection of war memorabilia, Frank approached each discovery with curiosity and reverence. His passion encouraged people to look at everyday objects in a new light, to see value in things beyond their monetary worth. Beyond his television career, Frank was also a mentor, a friend, and a voice for collectors everywhere. His generosity extended to those who wanted to learn the craft, and his enthusiasm for antiques brought joy to countless people. He reminded us that sometimes the best treasures are found in the most unexpected places, and that there's something magical about the thrill of discovery. Though Frank is no longer here, his impact remains. His spirit lives on in the collectors who roam flea markets, in the shop owners who restore vintage finds, and in the everyday people who simply appreciate a well-made piece of history. His legacy is one of passion, perseverance, and an undying love for the stories that objects can tell. Frank Fritz's passing marks the end of an era, but his influence continues to shape the world of antique collecting and historical preservation. His love for picking went beyond financial gain. It was about honoring the craftsmanship and history embedded in each piece he found. His ability to turn everyday objects into meaningful artifacts of the past was what made him a truly unique figure in the industry. One of Frank's greatest contributions was making history feel accessible. Many people think of history as something locked away in museums, but he showed that it exists everywhere. In old barns, dusty attics, and forgotten garages, he inspired people to look at their own surroundings with fresh eyes, to recognize that even the smallest, most ordinary objects have a story to tell. His approachable nature, sharp knowledge, and boundless enthusiasm made him a beloved figure, not just among antique collectors, but among anyone who values storytelling and preservation. Even though he is no longer here, his legacy will continue in every collector who follows in his footsteps, every item rediscovered and restored, and every moment where history is appreciated because of the passion he brought to the world of picking. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Frank Fritz's mysterious death? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.